Hello and welcome to Book 12 of the Odyssey. Let's begin. So we start off the book with Odysseus and the gang returning to Aea and finally retrieving Elpenor's body so that they can perform the ritual rites, and they bury him with an oar marking out his mound. And now, finally, after all this time, Elpenor can cross into the afterlife, so we don't have to worry about him anymore. Stellar. Circe, meanwhile, is like, oh shit, you guys actually survived Hades. I didn't actually expect that, funnily enough. So that's sick. Let's have a feast. And they do that before Circe leads Odysseus away from the group so that he can tell her the whole story. And after she does that, she's like, cool, sick, everything went as planned. But now, let me warn you about some other things that you're now going to have to face, because it ain't over yet. So first you're going to come across some sirens who will kill you if you try to listen to what they say. So make your crew plug up their ears with beeswax so you all can't hear them and let them kill you. However, I know you're a curious man and you won't put the beeswax in your ears because I know you want to listen to them. So if you do want to listen to them, have your crew tie you to the ship's mast, and if you tell them to let you go, you've got to strengthen those bonds just to make sure you don't go after them. And then you got two options. First of all is the Wandering Rocks, which I wouldn't recommend, only because the Argo is the only ship who has survived that one, and that's just because they had Hera, aka the god, the Queen of the Gods, on their side. So your chances aren't great if you go to the Wandering Rocks. Your other option, aka your only real option, is these two rocks. One of them is the home to Scylla, who is this thing with 6 heads, and she will eat a man for each of her heads, so you'll lose 6 men. And on the other rock is Charybdis, which is literally just a huge whirlpool, and if you sail close to that, you're all gonna die because it's just gonna suck up your whole ship. So I suggest sailing closer to Scylla, so then you only have to lose 6 men as opposed to just all of you. And Odysseus is like, can't I just, fight Scylla? Because I'm a pretty good warrior, not to toot my own horn, but I'm sure I can take her on. And Circe is like, Scylla's immortal, mate. You're not going to be able to kill her. There's a reason why she is called immortal. She can't be killed. You'll die if you do that. Don't do that. And Odysseus is like, okay, fine. And then Circe is like, anyway, next you'll reach Thrinaci, which is the home to the sun god's cattle, aka my dad's cattle. And I cannot stress enough how important it is that you do not eat them. Otherwise, you will be late and you'll have no crew by the time you get home. Basically, the prophecy the curse that was put on you is definitely going to happen if you do that. So please don't eat the cattle. My dad will get so angry. Just don't do it, please. And so after he receives all this advice, Odysseus and the crew set off with a wind given to them by Circe. He then tells the crew what Circe has said about the sirens, but he phrases it as though he has to listen to the sirens because he's just like that as a person. Man's not honest, but, he's doing his best. So they tie him up to the mast, and then they all put some beeswax in their ears and sail towards the sirens, who tempt Odysseus with promises of telling him everything that occurred regarding the Trojan War and what happened to all the people within it. And Odysseus tries to gesture with his eyebrows, whatever that means, to get the crew to release him, but then they just tighten the ropes more so he can't go after them. So then they pass the sirens, no one dies, all fine, and then they approach Scylla and Charybdis, and the crew are very scared, because, two very scary things on both sides, but Odysseus wills them to push forward, but doesn't tell them about Scylla and the fact that 6 of them will die, because why would he? He then puts on his armour as if to fight Scylla, because he's dumb, and forgot everything that Circe told him. And then as they approach, the men are distracted by Charybdis, while Scylla starts eating the 6 men. And all Odysseus can do is just watch them as they scream his name, knowing that there's nothing he can do. And now he's going to be traumatised by them screaming his name and trying to get him to help them. So, more trauma for Odysseus, boys. So then they approach the Thrinaci, and Odysseus tells his men of what Tiresias and Circe said to him about the cattle and not eating them, and tells them to just go past the island so they don't have to risk that. But Eurylochus, being Eurylochus, is like, mate, it's about to be nighttime and we could be going straight into a storm if we're not careful. So I suggest that we actually dock here, so that we have less of a chance of dying even more. And everyone understandably agrees to this because it is kind of a reasonable response, which is unusual for Eurylochus. And Odysseus is like, fine, but just please do not eat the cattle. Like, swear an oath that you all aren't going to eat the cattle. And everyone's like, fine. So then they dock at this island and cry about all the men that have been killed by Scylla and everyone else who has died, because they have lost quite a few men at this point. And then Zeus sends down a storm to make them feel even better. So then they wake up the next morning, and again, Odysseus is like, don't touch the cattle. If you touch the cattle, we're fucked. Don't do it. Swear down if you do it, I'll kick off. And then he goes into the island and pray, and then the gods make him fall asleep because, bants in it. So then Eurylochus is like, okay guys, I have a plan. We can eat the cattle if we make it into a ceremony for the sun god and promise to make him a temple when we get back. So then he can't be mad because we're promising him a temple for his cattle that we need to eat because we're hungry. Sound good, lads? And everyone else is like, hell yeah, that sounds like a totally sound plan. So then they sacrifice the cattle, and Odysseus wakes up to the smell of meat and he's like shouting Zeus's name in vain because it's like, you made me sleep. How could you? And then he like goes off into the island to find his men. And meanwhile, Lampate, one of the nymphs who are kind of on the island, goes to Hyperion and is like, hey dad, so these guys have just eaten your cattle, just thought I'd let you know. And Hyperion is like, excuse me? Huh? What? And he's like, I'm going to vow to live in Hades forever and never let the sun shine again because this is the last straw. I'm fuming. Absolutely fuming. I ain't shining again. They don't deserve it. And Zeus is like, bro, chill. I'll punish the crew for you if that'll make you calm down. Just please keep shining because we kind of need you. Just, I'll make them pay for it, okay? And Hyperion is like, fine. So then Odysseus returns to the crew and is like, what did I just tell you all to do? What did I say? What did I say? How could you? And the cowhides start to move and moo like zombie cowhides. And everyone is like, that's kind of weird. And Odysseus is like, what did I just say? What did I say? Now we're fucked. So then they set sail on the 7th day, and lo and behold, a storm hits, killing pretty much everyone, including the helmsman. So Odysseus has just lost his crew. So the ship is destroyed, and Odysseus is like clinging onto a bit of wood. And then he gets to Scylla and Charybdis, and like this bit of wood just ain't doing it. So then he sees a fig tree and clings onto it over Charybdis before she kind of brings the mast back up, so a bigger piece of wood for him to cling to. So then he clings onto that, and then he floats off to Aegygia, bringing us back to where he was in book 5. And that is the end of book 12. So I'll see you all next time for the 12th and final book of the Aeneid, and after that, book 13 of the Odyssey. Bye!